Nathaniel, thanks for joining me. It's
Thanks for
always
having
great
me.
to talk founder to founder. One of the things whenever we started talking about joining forces was, uh, the origin stories and things like that. And so I'm always really interested in that because I think that defines a lot of who you are as a company. So tell our listeners, our viewers, how did Mantle come to be?
So, when we first started to dig into the space and talk to a bunch of banks and credit unions, we realized that they were so reliant on these legacy vendors who were really hindering modernization and innovation in the space. And so, we felt like we could bring to them best in class solutions that it would actually help level the playing field and also give them the ability to compete with the Chases and the Chimes of the world. Now, when looking at the broader landscape, we really honed in on account opening because at the time, that was one of the products that hadn't been innovated in a very, very long time. And we felt like we could drive differentiated outcomes in that
Yeah.
experience. And when we launched that product, what was so amazing was the outcomes that we produced. We were able to drive down the time to open an account from over 10 minutes to under 3. We were able to improve conversion rates by over 4 times, increase that funding amount by 3.5x, reduce fraud by 67%, and drive significant automation in the back office that allowed them to reduce their headcount, which ultimately led to great cost savings.
So you have this one client and kind of, I'll just say hit a home run, whether I'm sure there were, rough patches along the way, but you had the success and you're like, hey, we can make a company out of this thing.
Yeah.
Right. And so now at this point, fast forward, you've worked with hundreds of institutions at this particular point. Like, what are some of the key things that you've learned on this, I'll just call it journey?
So it was great to start with a consumer online platform. As I said, that had not been innovated in a very long time, and the results we were seeing were very strong. But you walk into these banks, you walk into these credit unions, and you ask them what their differentiator is, and they all say the same thing. We're relationship driven, branch driven organization. And that's a really powerful statement. And the light bulb that went off for us was we really needed to bridge this online digital channel with the human led strategy and have a seamless experience so our banks and credit unions could ultimately meet their customers where they want to be met. You can start it online, you can pick it up in the branch, you can go into the branch, you can finish it online. And that's a really powerful experience for the customer. It allows the bank employees to overcome objections and really grow their business. And what they're able to do now that they have all of this time back and automation that's built is instead of sitting in front of you and, keying in your information for an hour, I actually can do it in 5 minutes or 10 minutes. And I get to use that time to understand you.
Whenever we think about, account opening, there's lots of systems out there now, right? Everybody and their, dog is like, well, we do account opening. Like, but what's really different about what Mantle does and how and what really sets you apart?
Yeah. So, as you said, many companies do account opening. What I would say is Mantle made the decision to go really, really, really deep and be the best in the world at account opening, not just for consumer, but for consumer, business, online, and in branch. And so, as we started to get in the branch, one of our key learnings was that it was great that we could open checking, savings, CDs, and the employees loved it, but they were still having to use two systems. And so we made a bet to say, all right, we want the goal to be 100% of your deposit accounts are being opened through Mantle. So now today, we not just do the basic checking, savings, CD, but we do trust, fiduciaries, escrows, IOLTA, any product that a bank would want to offer, Mantle can support. We've also invested a lot in fraud. So any solution can have a very slick UX, right? It's just a UI at the end of the day. But unless it's compliant, and we've built compliance into the system to make sure that the bankers are collecting the right documentation, we're reducing exceptions, things of that nature, and it's a much more guided experience, but we're also reducing fraud at the same time. And that's really, really important because obviously in a highly regulated environment, that's what banks and credit unions care about.
I definitely want to ask you, we talk a lot about here what the product does, but like this space is kind of exciting as well. And so when you think about like what's next, and let's just talk, kind of take this in two parts. What's next for Mantle? And then kind of what do you see next in this space in general?
One of the things that was really important to us was that Mantle would be a standalone business and be able to be open and integrate with other online banking
Right. Of
providers,
course.
other core providers. Because ultimately, our belief is that it is the customer's job to decide who they want to work with, and our job to facilitate that and make sure that our data is available to, make sure they have a good experience with that. In terms of where the industry is going, I think we see opportunity in two places. Number one, having a unified front door for both deposits and loans. There's a lot of power when you have one system that can drive both deposits and loans. Now you're not just slinging products, right? You're able to upsell, cross-sell in the same experience. You're able to move from a product-focused go-to-market into more of a relationship-based sale and understand the needs of the customer or member sitting in front of you and be able to provide them the full suite of products that ultimately they need. So that's number one. Number two is something we call account maintenance and servicing. So that now that MANTL is in the branch and the employees are using it to open 100% of their deposit accounts, they want to use it to manage the full life cycle of the customer. And the reason for that is because they're having to use another system to do that today. So we see a lot of opportunity in building one unified experience for the employees to not just do origination, but do servicing and maintenance. One of the big beliefs that we have is a better employee experience ultimately leads to a better customer and member experience.
That's great. Now, some of the things that I'm excited about, I want you to hit on are some of the things we're looking to do together, the kind of our better together, initiative. So maybe talk a little bit about a couple of exciting things that we're doing.
As I said, super cool to now be under one roof. And there's a lot of innovation that we can drive together. The things we're focused on now are probably three areas. Number one, winning that first impression, right? We want to create that neobank chime-like experience. When you sign up for an account, you sign up for a debit card, immediately all of those things translate directly into online mobile banking and they show up immediately.
First impressions are definitely important.
Yep. Number two is unifying that customer experience. You don't want to ever feel like you're interacting with two different systems. So the way we call it, it's not just another SSO integration. We want that user experience to be seamless from the time of opening new account, but also for existing customers and members who are opening that second or third or fourth account within online banking. And I would say the third part is how do we grow these relationships, right? And this is really where the data and marketing platform comes into play and how we bring the interface of the online mobile banking, the power of account opening, and the intelligence of data and marketing to ultimately anticipate the needs of the customer or member and actually serve them the products and services at the time that they need it.
That flywheel effect is really kind of what everyone else wants. The digital sales and service, back to sales, back to service, and it continues, that kind of virtuous loop, if you will.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, Nathaniel, thanks so much for stopping by, and we look forward to the exciting things we're going to do together.
Thanks for having
All
me.
right.